New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses. And if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I got a question that was really more geared towards New York. I'm going to talk a little bit about New York and I'm going to talk about how these things work. So I sort of changed the title to how to make sure your contracts are assignable. The question actually was, how do you get around clause 26 in the New York real estate deal? And what that means is standard New York contracts have clause 26, which says no assignability. So first of all, if you're outside of New York, you're going to prepare your own contract, right? Because a real estate transaction outside of New York takes place between a buyer and a seller, and the buyer usually provides the contract and says sign here, and then he gets some kind of inspection contingency where he could go do an inspection or go find the buyer if he wants the wholesale, and if he doesn't want to proceed, he can just get out of it the deal in that period of time. There's usually the minimus amount given as a EMD, as an earnest money deposit, but that is completely not how it works in New York. Oh, also, I will say that a standard contract, if it doesn't talk about assignability, is by definition assignable. I have to work on some of these things. Here, I don't know what the hell these are. So now in New York, the way a real estate transaction works, and people outside New York find this fascinating, is that the transaction takes place between a seller's attorney and a buyer's attorney. The seller's attorney, after a price is agreed upon, will then start generating a contract. In fact, even before that, what happens in New York, and this makes more sense, but it makes it much harder to do what we do. In New York, after a price is agreed upon, then inspection is done by the buyer. Inspection is done before the contract signed. And with the thinking, and this does make sense, if I find any repairs that I want done, I'm going to put them into a rider in the contract and I'm going to require them. It actually makes more sense. It just makes it harder, and it's the only state where anything like this takes place. So the inspection is done, then a seller's attorney prepares the contract, sends it to the buyer's attorney. Now, obviously, standard contract is going to say no assignability in New York. So I always recommend that you plant 3 seeds with the seller before he speaks to his attorney. The 3 seeds are: A, I need my contract assignable, and I sort of explain why. I have multiple investors, and many of them want to put the property into a specific entity, like their self-directed retirement account. And sometimes these bozos tell me this the day before closing. I want to make sure you get paid the day of closing, that there's no delays. So I need the contract assignable. That's the first seed. Second seed is, listen, standard EMD, standard earnest money deposit is 10%, right? If I I'm involved in a lot of transactions. If I put down 10%, I'd probably be out of business. So I'm going to give you $3,000 as a deposit. Is that okay? Most people will say yes. And third, I'm going to need to show this property a couple of times, both to potential buyers, because I know people looking that want to move into this area who can give me some kind of feedback as to what work to do, and to contractors who I can take that feedback as to, hey, that big bedroom, I want to divide it into 2 bedrooms. Hey, that half a bathroom, I want to make it into a full bathroom. Whatever they're going to tell me, I'm going to ask my contractors to give me estimates on. And I want to do this so I can start the work the day that we close. Those are the 3 seeds to plant. Inevitably, every seller will forget every single thing you said, most of what you said. And then his attorney will send you a contract that will ask for 10% as an EMD, as a deposit, will not be assignable, and won't have any language about showing it. And then your attorney will say, hey, the parties agreed. We're giving $3,000 instead of $30,000. We are going to make it a fully assignable. And we want to just be able to show the property 2 times for an hour. At that point, the seller attorney is going to call up his client and go, what the hell is going on? Who are these guys? This is what they said. And at that point, hopefully the seeds that you planted will grow into something where the seller says, yeah, we agreed on it. It's fine. Now, that doesn't always mean the attorney is going to agree to it. The attorney may say, well, you're only taking $3,000. How do you know this guy's going to close? This guy looks like he's just flipping it. All kinds of bullshit that comes up. It's fine. But because you planted those seeds, you have a much better chance of the seller saying, no, we discussed it and I'm fine with those things. Whoops. Sorry. So the way to get around clause 26 is to cross it out. Now, obviously, that discussion is going to take place between 2 attorneys. If the buyer's attorney just crosses it out and sends it back, the seller's attorney is going to go, what are you doing? So there has to be some discussion about, hey, the parties discussed this and they're okay with it. It's fine. Very often the seller's attorney will come up with some stupid compromise, sorry, and say something like, will allow you to assign it only to an entity that you control. The thinking being, we don't want you to flip this contract to somebody else, but if you want to open an entity, you can do that. Now, a couple of things. First of all, never lose a contract because of assignability. I have, and I am going to save you. I'm going to give you an incredible piece of advice on this video, and that is, even if the contract's not assignable, 99 out of 100 times you can call up your attorney, call the seller, and say, "Hey, we're going to take title in an LLC that we're about to create. Is that okay?" And 99.9 times out of 100, seller's going to go, "No problem, I don't care." And then you can create an LLC really in 5 minutes for $200. So if you're buying 123 Main Street, you just create 123 Main Street LLC. And then what you can do is you can sell the interest in the LLC. So now, this is a way to completely circumvent the no assignability, right? Because I am not assigning the contract, I am selling the LLC that's taking title to the property. I've done this many times. Now, there is it's not as easy as I just made it sound, because if you're dealing with a buyer who really doesn't know what he's doing, or his attorney doesn't know what he's doing, they may get spooked. "Oh, we're going to buy your LLC. Oh no!" Right? It's such a stupid way of thinking, because it's an LLC that was just created. So their thinking is, well, I don't want to buy an LLC that may have litigation against it or any kind of problems. But if I create an LLC and I tell them I'm creating an LLC today, and it's the same address as the property that your client wants to buy, what really can happen? What can I possibly do to get in trouble on this thing? It's almost impossible. So I've done that many times. It is a way to get around the no assignability clause. If the seller does not want you to have it assignable at all, or certainly if the seller says you can only assign it to an entity you control, then you can create this LLC and assign it, and then just sell it. Sell the interest in the LLC. Again, your attorney has to know how to do a sale of interest in the LLC contract. Your buyer's attorney has to be relatively experienced to understand how that works and why he's not giving his client anything to worry about. But it is a way around the assignability clause. So it's important to understand that. So I have lost deals because I stuck to my guns on assignability, and I lost the deal to other people, and I should not have. So don't lose a deal over assignability. But if you don't have a buyer's list and don't understand anything I just said, or everything I just said, then you probably should do something like that with somebody experienced like me. Because I have big buyer's list of people who do this all the time, no problem with it. And if your deal is a deal, I can find a buyer for it with no problem and avoid this whole assignability issue. But if you're fresh out of the gate and you don't completely understand what I just said, and you don't communicate that early in the process with your buyer, you are cruising for a bruising. Because if you send them an assignment contract and they sign it and send you a deposit, and then you get to the closing and the seller's attorney says, "Hey, we're not assignable," you have screwed up. You're in big trouble. But if you say up front, "Hey, we can't assign this contract, we just want to sell the interest in the LLC that we're going to take title in," and the guy says, "No problem," then you will be fine. So it's very important to get this right. It's very important to understand that Clause 26 is a pain in the ass, but there are many ways around it if you have a good list of people that are experienced. So don't lose a deal over it. But the best way to avoid it is to just simply tell the seller you need it, have the seller tell his attorney that I understand it's going to be assignable. That's the best way to go about it. So I will say planting those seeds is, I just gave you gold. I just gave you two golden nuggets. The first is how to plant seeds with a seller before he speaks to his attorney. And the second is how to really avoid the whole Clause 26 problem. So I am continuing my process of giving you guys really everything, right? I am completely transparent. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com or learntoflipandwholesale.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up, because the likes really help the algorithm. A lot more people seeing my videos, so thank you very much. I post 5 times a week. This came from a question. Who is it from? Claire. Thank you, Claire. Please keep the comments coming. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply with an answer. Oh, you don't have to ask your question, or your comment does not have to be about the video you're watching. It can be about anything. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply with an answer. I applied to about 10 answers today. If it's something that I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video. I sent two links to a video today about somebody who asked how to flip houses with no money. I've done videos on that recently. And if it's something new or something I haven't covered before, I'll do a brand new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it.